Mr Bailey.
Staff responses are on page 11, 25, 29 and 36.
Do we have the... Yep, no, cool.
You're all wired for sound, Paul. Good to
Thank
see you.
Thank
Good
you, Chairman
afternoon.
Wilson.
Welcome.
Kia ora. My name is Paul Bailey. I'm a one-time rural business manager for the BNZ down in Central Hawke's Bay. I've been a student of mathematics, and I spent some time working in the debt collection industry, including some years running my own agency. I'm currently a stay-at-home dad. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to present my submission. With respect to the oil and gas industry, I again remind you of the resolution you passed as part of the long-term plan process. And thank you, Councillor Scott, for bringing that resolution forward. I'd also like to thank members of staff who have met with a group from Don't Frack the Bay recently. This is the beginning of what I hope will continue to be positive dialogue between the community and the council around the expected introduction of the oil and gas industry into the region. It is right and proper that the risks to the ongoing viability of HBRC are listed in the annual plan. As a ratepayer, I wish to be assured that the assets of HBRC, specifically the Port of Napier, are not being unnecessarily put at risk by investment decisions made by HBRC around the Ruafatana Water Storage Scheme. Hence my concern with the use of the term strong project management by the Board of HBRC to mitigate against RWS project cost rises. Contrary to staff comments, the way in which the directors were appointed is irrelevant. What is relevant was the decision to appoint Director Scott to the panel hearing Plan Change 5, which was in my opinion naive, given the obvious perceived conflict of interest. Similarly, the process used by the Chairman of HBRC in requesting a 600% increase in directors' fees was also, I believe, naive. Once bidden, twice shy. Therefore, it is the naivety of some of the past decisions made around HBRC that do not give me the confidence that the board actually has the ability to manage a project the size of the Ruafatana Water Storage Scheme competently. Hawke's Bay Today has reported recently that since the appointment of, I understand, 2 staff to promote the scheme to farmers, only 20 farmers have signed expressions of interest. It is obvious from this response that the farming community is not beating a path to the door of Hawke's Bay Regional Council to sign up to the scheme. I think, again, it is naive to claim that the risk of farmer uptakes is only medium when it should be high. It is pleasing to note that staff have recognised that it would be prudent to add political risk into the matrix, and I hope you support this. This brings me to the issue of cadmium. The recent investigation and report quoted by staff was the same one that I quoted from. If you feel that 2006 is recent, then that is your prerogative, because that is when the report was in fact dated. If routine monitoring for cadmium has been undertaken by the Council, I am unable to find any reports that show the results. Like a number of issues that affect the environment, cadmium levels are now subject to media scrutiny, with Campbell Live devoting an entire segment to this issue on April 11th this year. I believe it is important that that the Council is proactive in monitoring and reporting on these issues. Given the likely change in land use to come from the Ruafatana Water Storage Scheme, I believe it would be prudent of the Council to be transparent about cadmium issues in the Hawke's Bay, hence my request that monitoring should be included and funded as part of a level service measure. If this has already been done, as intimated by staff, then these reports should be easily locatable by ratepayers. Finally, with regards to my support of the funding request for the Environment Centre, and I suppose, given the last submission of the Genesis Reforestation Project, I offer a contrary view. How does funding the Environment Centre not improve Hawke's Bay Regional Council's performance and effectiveness with its ratepayers? I recall when I was in the BNZ, they decided to cease all local sponsorship and centralise it to maximise return on spend. One of the unintended consequences of this decision was that, as the local representative of a business making profits of $1 billion per year, I was unable to gift a box of golf balls to the local golf club for their closest to the pin competition. It made the BNZ look cheap. Hawke's Bay Regional Council does some fantastic things at community level, such as replanting schemes, etc. And I would suggest to you that this is another one. I would ask you to think very carefully about the bureaucratic gobbledygook wording of the comments by staff and what it actually means, and just ask yourselves, does this request seem a good thing to do? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Any questions? I've got one to kick it off. In reference to HBRC, do you think it's time that that a dedicated joint venture partnership type board was formed to take over the management of the water storage project?
Sorry?
Well, a board dedicated to the water storage project.
The challenge there, Chairman, is the makeup of any such board or that manages the scheme. To my mind, the issue of conflicts of interest with both council staff and councillors being on the board is a bit of an issue because you're not only the promoters of the scheme, you're also the regulators of the scheme. That's a real issue for you guys.
Other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Bailey. Right,
See you next time.
we'll be here.